Hello, I'm Jelaine Spence, and I'm auditioning for the role of Katie's mom. I became a drug and alcohol counselor about 20 years ago, and I had been sober a couple years myself, so I really, at that time, that was kind of the end thing to help other people, since you were able to get sober. I was transferred to Midland, Texas to work with teenagers in an outpatient program. And I loved it. I learned a lot. But the hardest thing was the time when I counseled somebody and they seemed to have been doing well, and then we didn't see him for a while at any of the meetings, and I found out later he had killed someone, which I had never been close to anything like that. I was scared, confused by it, and I was subpoenaed by the courts to go and testify on behalf of his character. I was petrified. My heart was beating. I just never had been close to anything like that, and it was hard to see. But I think the hardest thing, or the biggest thing that I learned from it, was people do things when they are in the throes of addiction, and they can't help it. He was a great person, and just somebody you knew, like you meet every day. But he did go to prison because he did do it. He did kill someone, and so it was really tough, especially being so young. Fast forward, I felt called to go into the ministry. I felt like people with addictions were missing out, that they needed more spiritual connections, and that something was missing, that people weren't getting sober, and I felt like I wanted to add that to the counseling. I went to work for a treatment center, and it was a treatment center that was funded by the city or county, I guess, and so it was a lot of women that came through a lot. I worked with the women, and it was a hard job because I would see these women 2 or 3 times. They just kept coming through. But the hardest, the most difficult thing was I was working with a woman that I actually she was a colleague of mine as a counselor, and she had too gotten sober young and helped people, and she was beautiful. I was always so jealous of her because she was so beautiful, and people liked her, and she got along with everybody. And she came into the treatment center because she was back in her addiction and worse off than what she was. She looked different. It didn't have the same kind of glow. And so we kept in touch for a while, and even after she left the treatment center. And she, 6 months later, OD'd and died, overdosed and died. And it was hard. It was really hard. She left children, a husband, and again, I know that's not the life she wanted, but she was totally powerless. So I am no longer in that profession. Those were just a few of the stories, but it's tough, tough to do. And I'm grateful for my own recovery and that I don't have to be there anymore, but hopefully can always be there to share, to help that person still suffering.